Hi BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching Books I'm Not Reading. I am here today in my quest to get caught up on tags to do another tag, and this is the reread book tag created by Roz at Scallydandling about the books. And the last tag I did was from Jay Shea, who I think has tagged me in something else that I still haven't done. It's based on like a video game or something like that. And then Roz tagged me earlier this year in a Springathon related tag that I never got to. So my apologies. If you have tagged me in something, or if there's a particular tag you'd really like to see me do, please let me know down in the comments section below. And Roz, I just want to, and Karen Evans, if you're watching, I just want to show you my awesome kind socks. My yoga move there. So, all right, let's get into the questions here because Roz has some great questions. She is the creator of this tag. So, number one, let's assume you do reread if you're doing this tag. So where do you sit on the rereading scale from almost never to all the time? So I would say I'm near the almost never section. I just have so many books that I want to get to. And so unless it's something that I hold really dear, which I'll show you a few here later on in this video, but generally speaking, I don't reread books very often. So has to be something really, really special. Question number two, has that changed over your reading life? Yes. I think the older I get, the more I realize I don't have time to get to everything I want to. I want to read all of Dickens, and I have a really long way to go in that quest. And then there are things like Jane Austen that I want to continuously be rereading. And I realized this year in Jane Austen July when I went through my book journal that, yeah, I have not read Jane Austen enough. I've watched the movies too many times, and so in my memory I've read the books a lot, but that is not what the trusty book journal here is telling me. So question three, when you do reread, when do you reread? Maybe immediately after finishing a book, or not till years later, or when the mood strikes. So I would say never like right after finishing a book. I can't imagine the circumstances of that unless there's something like right at the very end that changes your whole perspective on the book, and then you just want to start over. But that would be very unlikely for me to do. I think, again, as I said in other videos, there's sometimes a right time in your life to read something, and you read it and know that in a few years you'll need to read it again. But yeah, I definitely don't reread things right away. So but again, really special books, I don't know, sometimes it's just like it's time to read this again because it's so good. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. 4, why do you reread books? I think rereading can really show how you've changed, how your ideas about the author and the story have changed. I do think in general it's a good idea. I just have too many books. So I just, rereading is not a high priority for me. I did reread a fair amount of YA in certain jobs. I don't know why I reread it, because there's, still tons more YA and middle grade books that I didn't get to. But yeah, just overall, I'm just not a huge rereader. So question 5, how do you reread? Faster, slower, just the best bits? I would never read just part of a book. I reread part of a book. No, I'd read the whole thing. I might be able to read it faster. I think the first time I read Pride and Prejudice, I was in high school, and getting used to the language of Jane Austen was really hard for me. Now when I reread it, it's like being with an old friend, and it feels very familiar, and it's not hard for me. But I guess that would depend on, like, if I went back and read Bleak House, I might be able to reread it a tiny bit faster, but still, that's such a huge book. There's so many characters. So yeah, that would be, it would probably be close to the same speed. Okay. Question 6. Who or what do you reread more specifically? Which authors or genres or individual books? So it just has to be something that I really love, that is really special, that I hold near and dear to my heart. So the Betsy Tacy books, which I did a whole slew of videos, I think it was last year, so those will be books that I will come back to again in the future. I know I've already read them all twice, and yeah, so I know I'll go back to those books. They're like comfort reads. Jane Austen, I will always go back to. If I ever manage to possibly read all of Charles Dickens, there will be Dickens books I will go back to. Shakespeare definitely requires rereading, and again, I still feel like I haven't read enough Shakespeare to start rereading things. So still trying to expand and learn and get a sense of the scope of what Shakespeare did. But and again, I understand that's a play, not a novel. But question 7, is there a book that you found better when you reread it? And I'm just going to tie this in with question 8, which is, and one that was worse. So I think most books are better on rereading. I mean, if you like them enough to pick them up again, I think you'll get more out of the story. In my last tag video, I mentioned Wallace Stegner's Angle of Repose, which I have read twice, and I know that it will show me more in the future. Wallace Stegner's Angle of Repose very much deal with marriage, and the longer I'm married, the more I think that book has to say to me. So I think if there's a book that I feel as though as I get older, I will take more, I will appreciate it more. Of course, you can never read Jane Austen too many times. Kent Harrouff's Plain Song trilogy, those books are amazing. I've only read them once, but I know that as I get older, like I will see more in them. I will understand them better, and they're fantastic books. I highly recommend those. So I'm looking forward to rereading them. I can't imagine rereading a book, having it and have it be worse. I guess maybe, you know, and that's not to say that it doesn't happen, but definitely if I don't like a book the first time around, I wouldn't return to it. The only thing I can think of is Dickens's The Pickwick Papers. So, and I love the Pickwick Papers, but when at the start of the book, there's all these kind of stories mixed in with, you know, Pickwick and his friends. Like they're just vignettes to begin with, and then there's like another story embedded in it. So if I were to reread the Pickwick Papers, which I definitely will, I love Pickwick, but I would just skip those stories that are inserted in there, because the longer the novel goes on, Dickens realizes his characters are strong enough to stand on their own. They don't need to tell another story. And so I would just skip those and just read about Pickwick and his friends. I guess that's maybe the one thing that I would do. So, which one book have you reread the most times? Okay. Okay, Ross, you asked for it. So I went through my book journal. I really do feel like I've read Pride and Prejudice 3 times, but there are some other books that I've read 3 times. So again, you will have heard me talk about some of these before. Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, I have read 3 times, and I am sure that I will read it again. I think this is just an absolute masterpiece. Definitely one of the best books ever written. It's so important, and it's such a great book. So I love that one. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which I actually read for the 3rd time earlier this year. I'm trying to read all of Betty Smith's books this year, and it was just as wonderful and just as glorious the 3rd time around as it was the first. And yes, this is just a book I really cherish. Okay, here we go. There's the other elephant in the room. So, the Harry Potter series. I went back and looked. I have read all 7 books 3 times. Now, the last time I read these was 2015, so it's been a while. But I actually don't know. Like, I don't know when I'll read these again, and I don't really want to talk about the author and the stupid things that she's been saying lately. But I do like this story. I do like these characters. The last time I read it in 2015, I really felt like J.K. Rowling had understood from the beginning books 1 through 6, and then 7, like she just didn't know. She just didn't know how to wrap it up. One of my friends and I joke that book 7, the first half of it is Harry Potter Goes Camping. But anyway, I have read all of the books 3 times. When I will read them again, I'm not sure. I think it'll be a while. So, all right. Roz, thank you so much for tagging me in this great original tag. And again, so many people have done this tag already. Karen Evans, if you haven't done this, I guess I tag you. And Laura on Air, if you'd like to do this tag, I'll just throw those out there. But I know a lot of people have already done this. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So let me know about the book you've reread the most times. All right, BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.